Oh man, I have missed this, ladies and gentlemen. I have missed it. It has been so long. It has been such a very, very long time. And I'm so excited to get back into it. And I can't wait to get this show started. Don't go anywhere. Don't adjust your dial. Don't adjust anything because the Technoid show is back. We are live and it starts right now. Oh, what a shock! We're not moving positions? We're still in this new view? Well, I guess there must be new things in store for 2024. So much to talk about, and yet so little time. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy here, Michael. Welcome back to the Technoid live episodes! Woo! Ric Flair in this bitch. What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a fabulous night. I hope you all are having a great time. I am so happy. I am so glad to be back. It has been too long, ladies and gentlemen. 2 whole months have passed since I last graced you all with a live episode. Now, if you notice, our setup is slightly tweaked because it has been a long time since I've been doing lives. It has been a while, so we need to do some things behind the scenes, but I want to make a promise to all of you. I want to make a promise from now that live episodes are coming back. They will be back full time. They are not going anywhere, but in the new year, we're going to be pumping these out more than we've ever before, and you have my commitment, ladies and gentlemen, fanboys and fangirls. We are back in full spring, full blossom. So without further ado, let's get this show rolling. Let's bring in our guest host of the night. We do have some more people joining in later on as the show goes. And our first man, the one, the only person who believed in this channel since day one, although there are a ton of you also humbly appreciated, we gotta bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the GOAT, the reigning, defending, undisputed Tech Deutsch Telekom GOAT of the entire internet philosophy ideology. The only guy to grab a bunch of 5 other old-ass men to debate each other about which is the best and the worst cellular companies in the world, and I'm pretty sure they've never seen the light of day. I'm just joking. I'm just playing. I love you, Dennis. I don't know you other people, but here you are, the SMT himself, Sneed Mobile Tech. Your volume is off. I can't hear you, brother. Your microphone. You gotta get that working. Ugh. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Technical difficulties are also on mine.
All right. Now I know it's working. How you gonna call me old man, son? How you gonna call me old man?
I didn't call you old man. I didn't call nothing. Now, fun fact, everybody. My computer screen is right over there. Camera's right here. We are going to be tweaking a few things, so apologies if the screen is turned over. But real quickly, I want to do something before the show starts. I'm going to pull a chair up. I'm actually going to pull a chair for this one. I want to sit down before we start this show. So tonight's show is really about a recap of 2023. But I got to be honest with all of you. I got to be frank. So this is not Technoid right now talking. This is Michael, the creator, talking right now. So guys, 2023 has been one of the most important years to date for my life. And over the last several months, there has been something that was going on, and I hinted at it very few times, and I finally have worked up the courage to talk about it. I won't go into details. And by the way, do we sound good on my end, Sneed? Does everything sound good?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Well, I'm going to move this mic over. Let me know if the microphone quality gets better. But I want to tell you guys straight up what's happened. Because I've been getting a lot of comments. I've been seeing a lot of people saying, what happened to Technoid? Why does he post so little? What happened to the YouTuber that was going in to be a game changer? What happened to that guy? Well, guys, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be truthful. I went through a very tough time in 2023. I unfortunately, and I can confidently speak about it now because I've officially moved on, but I basically went through a breakup. Now, I get it, young, naive, I know there's learning things, but for this stage in my life, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to endure. And not only did it change me in how I am today, but it also changed me professionally. I couldn't do YouTube like I once did. All the motivation, all of the love and genuine feelings I had for YouTube were gone for a good few months. And it felt to the point where I almost felt like I wasn't enjoying what I was doing anymore. There were moments, and Sneed, you were there side by side, behind the scenes. I don't want to get personal with this, guys. And I don't want anybody to message me and say, we're here for you, whatever, because I know you guys have been there for me, and I appreciate your support, and I appreciate all you've done. But I will admit, it was rough. I lost my motivation. I lost my drive and passion and hunger. But recently, last few months, I have been getting back on my feet. I have been more stable, and now I have some things that are also behind the scenes that I can't really talk about, but is really going very well. And life seems to be going a lot better now than it did a few months back and more. So I wanted to explain to all of you what happened, why I kind of almost like dropped off the face of the earth. But I want to thank all of you for continuing to watch my videos. I want to thank all of you for continuing your support. And I really, really want to thank all of you for still being there, even when I wasn't. I know I dipped, my content fell, my creativity fell. I knew a lot of things fell. But I am starting to get that motivation back. I am starting to feel so much more energetic every time. So with that being said, we're going to get rid of this chair. The story time is over. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm here to tell you that Technoid is not going anywhere. No man, woman, child, whatever, incel is ever going to bring me down. And I'm here to tell you that the Technoid show is coming back in a big way in 2024. We are not only going to get back to what made Technoid Technoid, but I am here to tell you, the creator of Technoid, I am here to tell all of you that I'm not going anywhere. And I will continue to make content because I love what I do. And I most importantly love each and every one of you. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, everybody, for continuing your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to Sneed. Thank you to Carlos. Thank you to everybody that has been by my side through this. And again, guys, I'm better now. I got some things working behind the scenes we can't talk about, but life is going really well. And I'm very excited for what the future holds. And I'm here's to a happy and new year. But with that being said, let's talk about tonight's show. So tonight's show is going to be a recap of 2023, and we're going to talk about a few areas. We're going to obviously talk about the tech world. We're going to talk about, obviously, Apple, Samsung, Google, but we'll also talk about cellular, because there are some things I want to talk about in my own personal view. Kind of relates to the man-child show we just watched moments ago. By the way, how can you have 6 grown men arguing with each other over cellular? I'd be surprised if I could get even just one of my friends to even know what the hell a spectrum is.
It's probably right, man. It's probably true.
But anyway, guys, let's get this show on the road. 2023 has pretty much come to its close, and I am going to be looking back and forth from the camera to the screen. Again, I don't want you guys to think that I'm looking too far away. I can see all your messages, like TJ. Shout out to TJ. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Hey,
see,
TJ.
we've already got some. We got MS, Philip Brooks. What's going on, my man?
Yeah.
We got already. Verizon network, we'll talk again. We'll get to all of that later. Don't worry. I will make sure to circle back. But Sneed, let's get this show on the road. It has been a long time. I'm a little rusty. So why don't you take this floor? Why don't you set the table for what 2023 was? We'll obviously start with Apple. Then we'll make our way over to Google. Then we'll make our way over to Samsung. And then we'll head over to cellular. So why don't you set the table? How did you think 2023 felt in terms of tech?
Well, with respect to the main brands, right? So like Apple launched a VR headset. Right? I think that was a big highlight for the year. It was a new product. It's a new consumer segment, especially for Apple. They did their typical things with their iPhone launch and their AirPods. And, I don't know. I'd say overall it was a disappointment in sales from what I understand. But I think that's more about like upgrade cycles and people hanging on to devices longer. Right. So when we look at the iPhones, for example, kind of muted. We didn't see the big growth that we're kind of accustomed to with Apple. But overall, I think based on the economy and people being a little bit more reserved in their spending, it was kind of expected, right? So overall, I think it was what we expected from Apple. I know that the headset's a bit of a disappointment, but it's a Gen 1 product, right? And I don't know. I don't know how you feel about the MacBooks. I don't know about the direction of the iMacs. I don't know where you stand with respect to those products, but their services are phenomenal, right? They do well with their services. I think more and more people, taking to all the things that they offer in the Apple ecosystem. I will tell you that the iPhone 15 specifically, if I could speak to that device, I think it's a good phone. I don't buy into the hype about titanium, right? But it was something that I think they were able to leverage as marketing. And I think some people took to it and they wanted that color, they wanted that variant, they wanted the Pro model because they knew it was going to be better than the regular one. So that probably helped sales, it probably helped their revenues. And I'll be honest with you, man, I'm more excited about the Galaxy S24 that's up and coming. But I do think that those two companies, right, Apple and Samsung, are the cream of the crop when it comes to mobile devices. And I think that'll continue to be the case moving forward.
Very good. Very good. You are learning very wisely, Grasshopper. Good job. But yeah, no, I am absolutely with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this year was pretty big for Apple because and Apple is still going through it because a lot of the stuff that's been going on with Apple right now is really out of their control. They're not really in control of their products. It's been regulated by the EU. But honestly, putting political agendas and other stuff aside for just a moment, looking at this from a consumer's perspective, looking at this from a tech cellular perspective, I think for me, I really like that Apple has finally delivered in terms of the iPhone being a Pro. I think USB-C on the iPhone has been a blessing. I have it right here.
Yo, we got to talk about that real quick. Me and you, we were wrong, dude.
We were wrong.
We were wrong about USB-C never going to an iPhone. We really believed that, right? And it happened.
You know something, man? I look back at the videos 3 years ago. I had long hair. I had pandemic hair. I had way less muscle than this. But I will say we were wrong. We were absolutely wrong. Now, listen, I'm going to actually be honest with all of you. I actually don't like the titanium iPhone 15 Pro Max. I think I prefer the stainless steel. I think stainless steel was such a better. I really think it was just better. I don't understand why they used. I really don't know why. Like, why did they like use that as a marketing ploy? Like, I understand
they had to do something, right? They needed a calling card for this device.
But the thing is, it's just the chassis. It's not the whole phone. It's just the outer border. I actually prefer the stainless steel. And I know it does.
Is there a durability advantage? Is there something there?
Well, I will say, I'm using this case, the Arc Shield, if you guys want to see. It's basically a minimal case, have a tempered glass screen. But in terms of durability, titanium is supposed to be a much stronger material, although we're seeing these phones crack like easily. So it's really just glass. And, as a very famous YouTuber once said, glass is glass and glass scratches and breaks. So you can't control that. But I think the biggest thing that they could have done and should have really been marketing was the USB-C. Now, I understand why they didn't do that. I understand that you can't really market USB-C. I really don't think you can make any argument to Apple marketing USB-C. But they also had another thing they could have used. The whole 5-time optical zoom lens system that they have inside of the Pro Max, which is actually the most unique version of an optical zoom lens we've ever seen on an iPhone and in a smartphone, period. So then you had the action button. But honestly, I really think that, I really feel that the iPhone 15's biggest marketing push. And again, it's stupid, but I really think it could have worked because this was a big significant thing for Apple users was the USB-C on the iPhone. But I get it. The backlash would have been crazy. I get a lot of people probably would have made fun of them for it. But again, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a great phone. It is actually one of the best iPhones Apple has ever made to date. And I honestly think, I don't know if I'm going to switch away from the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I might hold on to this phone longer than I've held on to any iPhone.
Let me ask you something. You something. Was there ever a generation of iPhone that was a regression, where the newer one wasn't the best one ever?
I feel like the 13 was like that. Because the only thing I can remember of the iPhone 13 was the 120 hertz display and maybe the smaller notch. But
so you're telling me that the 13 was lesser than the 12?
Well, not that it was lesser, but it was offering the same camera technology. It was offering the same hardware. It almost had the same specs. The chip really wasn't as significant as the other one. But I think for me, the only iPhone that felt like a regression was the base iPhone models because, again, they are really out of date when it comes to hardware, but they're selling really well. So honestly, I don't think it's my place to argue that because as long as they're making money, that's what matters.
Yeah, each generation iPhone's got to be, demonstrably better than the last iteration, right?
Yeah, I suppose. But I will say, I think the biggest standout for Apple was the Vision Pro. I think that, listen, we all know that this thing is going to be expensive. We know that this is not going to be a product for everyone. We know that this is kind of like their new kind of innovation into AR, VR technology. And look, I'm still debating on whether I'm going to get this thing or not because honestly, I kind of want to see it. I want to see it in action. I want to see what it can do. I really want to see the capabilities, but I don't think I'm ready to dish out $3,700, excuse me.
At that price point, it's got to bring value to your life. Like game-changing experiences. It's so expensive.
I think it will. I honestly think it will because if you look at the way Apple's positioning this, like you could actually touch it like virtually, it's basically a version of what the Oculus can and can't do, how it links to your MacBook, how it's basically an extension of your MacBook, how you can link it to your iPad. I really feel like this thing is going to be very powerful, but I think it's just way out of the ballpark for the average person. But I am very curious to see how this thing is in the real world. But I also think a big thing for Apple this year was, besides the iPhone and the Vision Pro, I also got to say that, there is one product that not a lot of people are really giving some praise, but the MacBook Pro got one of the best updates in a while.
So that one's definitely worth upgrading from, like, say, for example, maybe a 3 or a 4-year-old machine.
Oh, yeah. And I just got the new Space Black MacBook
M2 chip?
Pro. M3 Pro.
M3?
It's absolutely worth it for me. It's a big difference coming from the M1 Pro. I had a 14-inch. Now I went back to the bigger 16-inch model because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big guy. I can't do small things. I got big-ass hands. I ain't trying to downgrade. I'm sorry, man.
I feel you, bro.
But nah, man, it was really, really good getting back to a bigger MacBook. The space on the computer.
What was your price point for yours?
With trade-in, $1,800 something.
Okay.
And I financed it for a year. And it's perfect. So I'm cool with that.
Gotcha.
So those I think, are the standouts for Apple this year. Again, the biggest one, obviously, is going to be the Vision Pro. The Vision Pro really is going to be, that product because that's the one that they are banking everything on in terms of setting the foundation of a new ecosystem and also trying to push new things out. But if we take a look on the flip side, let's head on over to Google for just a second. Because, listen, if you guys know me, I'm one of the biggest Google haters. But not because I don't like Google. You know, because I can't stand that these slimy asshats have never been nice to Tito. And I'm still vouching to this day. I'm never going to shut up about it. I don't care if anybody tells me, oh, you're just being sour. Listen, I don't need free shit. I review everything I pay for. So keep that argument to yourself. I'm not
Facts.
a smartphone reviewer, people.
Facts.
But anyway, this was a big year for Google because not only did they debut the Pixel Fold, it's actually a really good foldable. There have been some positive reviews on the Pixel Fold. The Google Pixel 8 and 8 Pro have also been a big improvement over the 7 and 7 Pro. The 7a was also a very solid hit with users. And Google is actually doing what we've been wanting to see them do for a while. And that's pick up market share, become a big three in the whole Apple, Samsung. Because Google now has solidified them as a top 3 contender in Android.
But we got to say this. We got to say this, though. They're not going to take much share from Apple. Really, what they're going to try to do is probably try to take share from the Galaxy crew. Yeah. It's too hard to break through that Apple gang, like the ecosystem, the iMessage, the cloud services, all things Apple. It's just tough to get people out of that. Even though Google does offer a lot of those services, it's just people are already there and they want their blue bubbles. You're not getting through, so you're trying to get and infiltrate into the Samsung market.
Well, to be fair, we now know that Apple is adopting the RCS profile. They're not adopting full true RCS, but essentially
how much is that going to change the world?
That would change the world for Android users because finally on their end, obviously for the iPhones, you're still going to get green bubbles. You're still going to see that stuff. But on an Android now, you'll see when they're typing back. You'll see the reactions.
Does that change Google Pixel in any way?
I would say it makes it easier now texting an iPhone user and making it more easier because then you don't feel like they're just going to
So it's not a game changer, it's an enhancement.
It's more of an enhancement, yes.
Gotcha.
And I think it also adds to the effect because, again, obviously Apple is still going to limit what RCS can do. They're going to still keep iMessage, be the big one. But now you could send the things over RCS that are more, I would say, like higher media profiles. Right. You can now send better messages through rich communication services. Mm-hmm. And the best part is that it's the universal profile. Now, there is one negative to this as it's not the end-to-end encrypted version as Apple is reserving end-to-end encryption with iMessage to iMessage. So that is their twist. And also the blue bubbles will still exist, the green bubbles. But if you're an Android user, you're messaging an iPhone, now you'll see their typing responses, you'll see their reactions, you'll be able to send media messages, full long videos, and they won't be blurry, they won't be crappy quality. So That's really an enhancement for the Pixel users. But I get it though. You're not going to be able to switch an iPhone user to a Google Pixel. You would probably have better chances of switching from OnePlus. If you want to throw out any Chinese brand like Oppo, Vivo, whatever's out there.
Xiaomi, Huawei.
Xiaomi. You know what's crazy is like these brands are so big, they're so out there, but like nobody talks about them anymore. They're more popular in their...
There's no support here, right? Like the carriers don't support them. We've got that whole China espionage risk and they're not welcomed here in North America.
No, literally. I'm with you on that.
With the exception of OnePlus, and we know how you feel about OnePlus.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get to them in just a minute. But going real quickly to the Pixel Fold, I actually want to ask you this, Karl. I've been dying to ask you. Do you think the Pixel Fold, now that we have 2 foldables on the market, 2 legitimate foldables, and I don't want to hear the OnePlus Open, I don't want to hear that. It's not established like Google and Samsung.
Correct.
But I'll throw it in there if it makes you OnePlus nerds happy. But do you think now that there is a legitimate market for foldables in the Android side, do you think that now consumers are start to consider this as a real possibility now that big companies are finally adopting this technology?
You know what they've got to be able to do? They have to convey to the consumer base, you want this, you need this, it's going to make you more productive, it's going to make your experience with your smartphone more immersive, it's going to allow you to do more, be more efficient in what you do, and it's got to offer an improved experience, whether it's the video consumption or it's the web browsing or if it's content creation, whatever it is you do with your device, these foldables have to do something to make your experience better, because you're going from $1,000 smartphones to $2,000 smartphones, right? That is a substantial increase in price. So you basically got somebody who's going to spend double what they normally would. This thing has to make your smartphone experience just that much more immersive. Now, I think Google did a nice job with their first version, right? They've got to really step it up for the second version, because in my opinion, I still think Samsung is doing it much better, right? But Samsung has been doing it for a few gens now. So yes, they should be better, but I think Google is the type of company that does step up their game. They can do more with their processing. They could do more with their GPU. They could do more with their screens and displays. All that stuff can be improved, but they do have to stick it to Galaxy, because as of right now, that's the one.
You know, EM Tech.
What is it? The Fold 5 is what they're up to now, right?
I think it's the Fold 5, yeah. Actually, it's funny because EM Tech actually brings up a very fair point. He said, arguably, the OnePlus Open is more established than the Pixel Fold, considering it's just a rebranded Oppo Find N, which has had multiple generations. You are correct.
But aren't you speaking to the brand and not the
we're
device?
talking... Exactly. I was about to say, we're talking about the brand. But in terms of hardware, you are 100% spot on. So I'll give you that. I will admit defeat on that.
Yeah.
I will admit. But real quickly, I want to talk about Samsung, because I want to be honest with you. And this is actually going to be a shock, but I was kind of disappointed by Samsung this year.
In what way?
I was disappointed because I didn't get any wow factors. They've become like what Apple has become over the last few years. Like, they're making phones now where there isn't much left to innovate. There's really no new redesign.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on a second, man. When it comes to North American smartphones, who's giving you the best charging speeds?
Just throw the ball up, hit it out the park. Steve's going to hit him.
Who's giving you the best charging speeds? Who's giving you the best modem technology? Who's giving you the best displays? Who's giving you all that?
Samsung.
The best camera system.
Samsung.
Right? So, like, you could say what you want, and I get it. You're setting the bar high, obviously. But come on, man. Give them some props.
Okay, all right, fine. You know what? I will give them some props. I will. I will. I'm not going to be selfish here, because I will admit, I think, for me, the best phone that they've made, obviously, is the S23 Ultra. And I'm actually, when my lease payment is done, once it's done, I'm done with the foldable. I'm not going back to a foldable. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I have not used the foldable as much as I thought I was going to use it for. I was more impressed with the camera technology on the foldable. I do like the concept. I like the idea. I really think it works, but it's not something that I can say I would use on a daily compared to like my iPhone.
What about a
flip? Not even a flip. Okay. I like my phone. I like it not folding. But I actually like the S23 Ultra because that camera technology is very impressive. And honestly, I'm actually gonna make a confession to all of you. So I'm actually working on a 2-year later review of the Galaxy Z Fold 4, I think it is. So next year will be the second year. And I'm gonna tell you something. And this is a secret. I haven't told anyone, but I've been using the Galaxy Z Fold's camera as my main camera for a full year, and we're going on 2 years. And it has been used on my green screen when I film my reviews. So all that video footage that you're seeing is from the Galaxy Z Fold. I normally do not use a smartphone as a camera system. I like to buy additional hardware like a GoPro, a Sony Pic camera. But I wanted to really see how good this camera technology was, and I was thoroughly blown away at the quality and how it handled. So I will give Samsung the best when it comes to camera technology. But I also would like to see the Sony Xperia camera system. So I'm debating on my next camera if it's going to be the Xperia, the Sony Xperia, or if it's going to be the S24 Ultra.
We got to talk about the Xperia, though, in terms of like getting one, the cost of one. Getting carrier activated with one.
We'll get to that once we get over to OnePlus. Because trust me, they didn't really do much. And I know there's Sony fans out there that are still saying, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. It doesn't have to. They're still the same. I think OJ's out looking for the real killer. So don't even try to hit me with that, people. But I'm probably going to get hit with a lot of hate tomorrow morning, but I don't care.
It's all
good,
live, right?
people. I don't give a
damn. We love everybody, man. Hugs for everyone.
Guess what I say? Fuck your hugs. I'm probably losing my monetization tomorrow morning for sure. But I got to tell you, though, I will give them some credit. I actually think the Z Fold 5 is the best Fold version they've made to date. I think that it's the best in terms of its hardware. I think it's the perfect flush form factor. But I really want to see them make that redesign, bigger front screen. And who knows? Maybe I'll switch to the Fold again. Maybe I'll go to the S24 Ultra or a Sony Xperia phone. But we'll get to that in just a moment. But Samsung, one area that I was thoroughly disappointed in was their audio department. And if you know me, guys, you know I'm a huge audio fanatic. You know I care about audio so much. And I gotta be honest with you, I was so disappointed that they didn't release any new Samsung Galaxy Buds except this stupid, cheap, flimsy Galaxy Buds FE, which, by the way, I'm not reviewing, so don't get your hopes up, because this thing is essentially the Galaxy Buds 1.0. This is essentially the Galaxy Buds version 1, but with bad...
How many versions they got?
If I tell you, it will be here forever. I will say, I am really happy that they brought back the wingtip designs.
Yo, who makes these for them? Who designs these? Is it all in-house?
Samsung. It's all in-house. But the problem is just they make the worst headphones and they put the worst hardware in the best design.
Are you talking about you're talking about for sound production, microphones, all that?
Oh, first of all, you're never using wireless earbuds for sound and audio production. Let's get that out of the way. But even if
I'm talking about like conversations and stuff like phone calls.
Well, even then, I mean, essentially what these are is a hybrid between the Galaxy Buds 1 and the Galaxy Buds Plus, where they offer active noise canceling, but they use a single driver setup. They cost the same amount that you could get a Galaxy Buds 2 Pro,
which are going to be better
in every single way.
Right. Yeah.
And listen, the only thing I'm giving them is the wingtip design. I really miss the wingtip design. It added a nice layer of customability, and it added to that. So I'll give it that, but I'm not reviewing it just for that. I'm sorry.
Right.
These things, and I've used them, guys, they sound like watered dog food. So do not waste your time. Just get the Galaxy Buds Plus or get the Galaxy Buds 1 Pro.
And those are what, 1 year back, 2 years back?
1 or 2 years back, and they'll still outperform this thing.
Yeah, performance matters, man.
So for me, I was disappointed by Samsung in the audio department, but they do have the good hardware, but there's still more to be done. But now let's actually talk about OnePlus, because listen, guys, you know I'm going to just go in and hate this. Actually, no. No, I'm not. Because I'm actually going to do something I've never done before. I am actually going to give OnePlus a lot of credit. And this is now hell has frozen over. I am going to give them credit for releasing a foldable, especially in a very big market. And the OnePlus 12 is coming soon. And I got to be honest with you guys. I got to be genuinely honest. These phones are some good hardware. They are some good hardware. You know, I like to joke around. I know I like to trash on them because they haven't done anything to make themselves better. But from a hardware perspective, these phones are some of the best built phones and for a really, really good price. The problem is just OnePlus is not the same anymore. They are not doing anything in the American market. They just keep releasing phone after phone after phone after phone, and they're filled with excuses. Yeah. I remember going to the OnePlus 11T event.
Oh yeah,
and I met.
Remember that.
And listen, for anybody from OnePlus is watching this and remembers my face, I don't care if I get a ban for not going anymore. I really don't care, because I'm going to speak my mind, and I'm not afraid to say it. I had a chance to talk to some really powerful people, some really great people, some really, really great people. But your ideas of how to get this phone spread out are so backwards that I don't even think the main company in China knows what you're thinking. Like, you hold back from putting premium features, you price it in a good area, but then you're like, oh, but we can't do this, we can't do that. But yet you can't pay for a certification for IP, water, and dust rating when even the basic of basic phones that are under your price point can do more than that. And then you want to say, oh, well, we have to really market and advertise. You're full of compromise, even in your stock answers. So all I got to say with OnePlus is that if you really want to have a good year, which again, I feel like I'm literally like, I'm really being honest here. Like, if I gave OnePlus a calculator, they would try to turn on a TV. Like, it's bad. They don't listen. Their fandom is split.
It's been a while since they, the origins and the how they kind of disrupted here within the North America. And like, look, if you look at the devices, their most successful phones here in the US are the ones that sell the most at prepaid, like Metro.
Yeah.
It's not
And
their
that it's
flagships, which
not the
are great
flagships.
phones, but it's just they don't have the carrier support, so they don't get the distribution.
And it's a shame, dude. It really is a shame because I don't want to come on here and trash them. I want them to succeed. I was so hyped when they came. Carl P, whatever. He came, he did his thing, and then he left. Like, he was there for a cup of coffee and said, I'm done. So, for me, it's like OnePlus has not been able to deliver since then. So, I'm sorry, but until they get their things... Ooh, big camera tonight. See? I rule the moderation world. But until they get their act together, until they get everything together, I'm just going to keep it 100. And I don't see OnePlus doing anything special next year. They can make some really great phones, but I don't see it going anywhere until they really make some moves with AT&T and Verizon. Once they make their way into an AT&T Verizon store, then I'll come back to this conversation and talk about it. But the last one we want to talk about real quickly was the Sony Xperia. Because I'll be honest with you, I actually really like this phone. I'm one of the few people that you'll probably think, why do you like a Sony Xperia phone? Well, very simple. It is probably one of, if not the best phones that money can buy you in terms of hardware. It's basically everything Sony built into one. And with that being said, we have a guest backstage who's going to get his 2 cents in. The man, the one, the only, the long time no see, Carlos.
What up, Los?
What up, man? How you doing?
What's
How
up,
you been?
Carlos? You been watching the show? How you been? Long time,
Yeah.
my friend.
I know you've been MIA, bro.
Dude, no more MIA.
What is it? Eugene kidnapped you, bro.
Yackle.
The Yakko probably thought he was trying to find me, but nah, man. We're back. There's no falling off the face of the earth, man. But if you've been watching the show so far, tell me your thoughts. What do you think of the 2023 in the tech world? And we were just about to talk to Sony Xperia. I want to hear your thoughts, man.
I mean, cellular tech has been innovative, but at the same time, it's pretty blah, bro. The
Los,
phones
you're
still look the same.
you're a big fan of the OnePlus devices, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
So we were just talking about them, and now we're going to get into the Sony piece. These are phones that are kind of elusive. It's hard to find them. It's hard to use them.
Wow.
They're costly and expensive to get a hold of sometimes. I feel like that's barrier to entry, and that's why we just don't see them much.
I wish we had a OnePlus of the world because I do love the OnePlus. It has all the bells and whistles that you want from a Galaxy, but in a pixel type form OS.
At one point, I remember we called OnePlus the iPhone of Androids. At one point, people were having those conversations.
Right.
And at one point, we were even saying that they were a flagship killer. Remember that word? Flagship killer?
Yeah, the OnePlus. Yeah.
But the Sony Xperia for me is an interesting piece of hardware because it is actually Sony's entire division of everything. Movies, media, music, camera, hardware. Like everything in one. And what I really love about Sony's hardware team is they're using the premium sensors. Not the sensors that they give to Apple, Google, and Samsung. They give the best sensors that are on their Xperia lenses, the Zeiss T lenses. So they're using the premium lenses that you find on their cameras that cost $2,000 that are on a smartphone for only $1,100. But Sneed brings up the fair point. You can't find these phones, and the only time you can find them is in a Best Buy store, which does nothing. They're not even available on T-Mobile, which technically this phone is built for T-Mobile, but it's also built for Verizon and AT&T. It has 5G certification for all the carriers, millimeter wave, sub-6, but it's just, again, it's one of those phones that just does not make its way to the mass market. And then you have these people that come in, the Sony fans, that try to make excuses for them and say, oh, well, it's not for you. I got it. I bought it. Well, guess what? The needle hasn't moved since you did anything. So needle dick, tweedle down.
Oh, snap.
No, because
Yeah.
these Sony fans are literally the most annoying fans I've ever met. They're still, like I told you, the analogy. They probably think that OJ is out there still looking for the real killer.
That is a cool phone,
Bro.
man. Nice design, like really badass hardware. I mean, you got tons of storage. You got a big, beautiful display, 4K, the
And a
refresh rate.
headphone jack.
Yeah, dude,
5 models in, and
powerhouse.
it still has a
I'm
headphone
guessing.
jack.
I'm guessing the battery capacity is like 5,000 milliamp hour or something like that.
5,000 milliamp hour.
Yeah, that's an impressive piece of hardware. Can I
Hey,
get it on
Technoid.
Verizon?
Is this the newest one? How old is
What's
this
up?
one?
Yeah,
It
How
just
old is
came
this
out. It just came out, I think, a couple of months back. But it's already
Oh,
using
okay.
outdated hardware. They have a terrible release cycle. They should
Yeah.
release this when they get the 8. They should be releasing this phone when they get the Gen 2 Plus chip. Not
What you
the
really
Gen-
got to do is you got to match Galaxy with their launches, right? Because if you launch like how Google does it in the fall, puts them in a disadvantage. You got Samsung basically getting the whole year to themselves, man, like 3/4.
No, literally. And if they make a push, like again, these phones that Sony's making are literally able to go toe to toe. They just got a full, and if I actually look at the build, and if you actually go into the details of the software, apparently now the Sony Xperias are now able to get up to 4, maybe 5 years of OS upgrades. Here, I'm gonna pull that up for you
That's
guys to show
actually
you.
nice.
Here, I'm gonna pull it up.
That was always
Maybe-
a sticking point for a lot of people when it came to the support, man, long term.
See, right now, as of today, based according to several reports, it seems that the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, which is the new version, is essentially going to be getting the software support, and it says right here,
Security patches or like OS updates.
well, we're gonna look it up for OS updates. Sony Xperia 1.5. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
It probably might be like every other manufacturer, 3 years of OS updates and then 2 security patches on top.
Oh, so a total of 5
Well, it
years.
says right here, according to some reports, it says here that that it will be getting Android 14, and okay, so it will be getting 3 years. It will get 3 years of OS upgrades and then 2 years of security patches. But it seems like they're also trying to push for 4. So if they can push for 4, then honestly, I wouldn't even argue, because why are you going to pay $1,100 on a phone? And I don't care how hardware advanced it is. How are you going to pay $1,100 on a phone that can get no more than 3 OS upgrades, and an iPhone can
Yeah, but
get
here's
just
the
7?
thing. Here's the thing. The 3-year cycle for an Android, I mean, you really want a new phone after 3 years. Like your battery capacity, your display technology, your camera systems. You know how much changes in 3 years?
Yeah, I suppose. But the trade-in values for Androids are not as good.
Yeah, it's
even
bad,
after
bro.
3 years. So they
Yeah.
still haven't worked on that. But real quickly, I want to actually take, before we wrap up this show, and I'm glad Los joined, I want to talk cellular for just a moment, because I'm actually going to make a confession to all of you. Sneed, you know about it. Los, you're about to find out. Which, by the way, Los, I've still been using, you know what? It works like a glove. It works beautifully.
Oh, damn, nice.
I've never stopped. It's beautiful. I love it. But recently, Technoid, have decided to switch carriers. I am done with pink thongs. I don't care how many free lines they're giving out. I don't
Whoa,
care
whoa,
how
whoa.
much.
Whoa. So are you saying you went back to the red
It's red
thong?
patty night, bro. It's red patty night.
In a way, but yes. In a way. See, here's the thing. I didn't switch to Verizon, the main. I switched to Visible Plus. And I got to tell you something.
wow.
I was on a trip in Arizona. And I sent Sneed all of my speed tests. Sneed, they're documented. You've seen them. I'm going to tell you guys something. Visible versus Visible Plus. Visible, the standard, garbage. Ignore it like the plague. Visible Plus, that's pretty much Verizon service. That's pretty much straight Verizon. Because not only was I using, and I could even pull it up. I'm going to show you guys my data usage in 1 month on Visible. Here's the current. If you guys can see, I'm going to try to get this. Can you see?
Yeah, it's too bright.
Hold on 1 sec.
Yeah, try to if you could turn on. 100 and some gigs, looks like.
131 gigabytes of cellular data.
How many days?
30.
So that's the month, man.
And here's the thing. They said they give you 50 gigabytes of premium data. And you get 5G ultra wideband that never throttles. I have been at a hotspot for ultra wideband because my neighborhood has a Walgreens and a Verizon store down the road. So ultra wideband is as common as T-Mobile's 5G ultra connectivity is close to nothing. And
So are you telling me that the Visible experience legit?
Dude, not only is it legit, but I don't think I want to switch to any other carrier. I don't care about the free perks. I don't care about... And yes, I'm still using you know what, Mr. Los. And I love it just as much. Sometimes I use it back and forth.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, even on LTE on Visible Plus has been a game changer. It has been so amazing. I have never seen reliability. And I went on a trip. And matter of fact, I'm going to do a live speed test in my basement right now. We're going to do a live speed test of Visible
Lower
LTE.
level.
Lower level. We're going to do a speed test right now. So this is in the basement. This is, again, no wall. Well, obviously walls and whatever. But this is what Visible is pulling in my basement on 2 bars LTE versus T-Mobile 3 bars. Now, T-Mobile advertises 5G. So, we have a question. How would you rate AT&T? I actually will say AT&T is very good. I actually think it works better in certain applications. So, I actually like AT&T, and I really, really enjoy it. So, this is the speeds we're pulling in on Visible. Can you see that?
Nice, man. You got some throughput, 63 megs.
So, now let's switch it on over to... Let's switch on over now to the pink thongs, and let's see what they're racking up. Now,
Are you testing 5G or LTE for?
We're going to find out right now. So, LTE. Okay, so they're both LTE, so nobody can see that I'm making this up. It's LTE. So now let's run the same test on LTE. And it actually has 1 bar more than Visible. So it's actually got 3 bars versus Visible's 2 bars.
So a stronger signal, maybe?
We're going to find out.
Let's see. And do you typically use LTE or 5G on most of your usage?
5G, man. Can't
5G.
go anymore.
More G's, man. It's always better.
The one advantage, and okay, tests are back.
60 something?
The same thing, but
You got
I will
good
give them
uplink.
they have good uplink.
Yeah, nice.
So the performance test is very similar. But imagine what the 3rd bar would do with Visible.
Yeah, it's possible the tower site might be a little further away.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'm not gonna crap on T-Mobile too much because I will admit they have gotten better in certain applications, in certain usages. They have gotten a lot better.
How was it on your trip in Arizona?
Oh, it was terrible. That's Verizon town,
Wow.
downtown Arizona, and millimeter wave on.
What did I tell you, man? See, come on, man.
I will tell you guys. I will say this: AT&T and Verizon are the best 2 services to use because T-Mobile could not. I was I went to an event for my friend. It was a convention. 17,000 people. 17,000 people in one building over 4 days. And these were the speed tests that I pulled in the Arizona on millimeter wave for both Verizon or Visible Plus and T-Mobile. This was the speed inside Sneed. This was on millimeter wave.
Damn, 2.8 gigs?
2.8, almost 3 gigs. And here was T-Mobile on millimeter wave.
Yeah, that's probably the 5G you see. I don't think that's millimeter wave.
No, it was fine. I sent you the screenshot. I sent it to you. It said Ultra UC.
Yeah, it could be their N41. I'm not sure if it's millimeter wave because they don't have much millimeter wave across the country.
It was
No,
in the convention center. So this was in the
they
heart of
don't.
the
Oh, maybe
convention
they have
center.
a DAS. They had access to a DAS system there.
In Phoenix, they don't have any millimeter wave for T-Mobile.
Well, they better get working on that soon
Right.
because I'm telling you, man, it was a noticeable difference. I did not once use my T-Mobile service, but I will say I like the iPhone's handling of dual SIMs. It really does
Yeah.
work with both of them, and whichever one is getting the better signal, it'll use that.
Oh,
So
you
I
have the
almost don't
auto
even-
switch enabled?
Exactly.
Yeah, the data
and the thing
switching.
is, they don't even switch back and forth. It's just if that one is stronger, it'll pull from that one and help perform better.
It's a nice feature, man.
I think Apple really did a good job with the whole eSIM. I really think they did a good job.
Yeah.
So really quickly, before we wrap this show up, because I got to start heading out, guys. Real quickly, though, before we end this show, I want to take this moment to dedicate tonight's episode to my mentor, my teacher, my friend who passed away a few days ago. We kept in contact since high school. He's been a mentor to me for almost 10 years. Unfortunately, he passed away. Mr. Lamort, I wanted to dedicate this to you. Rest in peace. I wanted to do it at the beginning of the show, but again, just kind of flow with the flow. But I'll never forget your 5 B's, Mr. Lamort. Be bold, be brave, be kind, be just, be loved. And I will teach that to all my students when I continue my journey, which, guys, we have some announcements on that later on. But tonight's episode is dedicated to Dave Lamort. May you rest in peace, Mr. Lamort, and hopefully heaven will have gained a great maestro. Rest in peace. So, guys, I'm going to let you close out the show. I want to start with Carlos. Los, what are your final thoughts on 2023, and what are you looking forward to in 2024?
What am I looking for in 2024? Maybe better looking phones, man. Maybe something better than the original slabs that we're used to, because this is getting boring, bro.
Yeah.
It's getting boring as heck. And hopefully, I don't know, bro. I mean, hopefully it could just devices in general could just become more stable, because stability is still not there. I don't care what manufacturer it is; it's still a mixed bag. So hopefully 2024 gets that down.
Sneed, final thoughts?
So I've always been a Pixel guy, and I've kind of moved away from the Pixel, and they're gonna have to earn my money back. Right? They're gonna have to bring a much upgraded, refined experience to the hardware side if they're gonna get me back. I'm probably gonna go with a Galaxy as my daily driver, starting in the new year once I get an S24. For now, I'm using the iPhone, and I've got last year's model iPhone, so not the 15 gen. I've got a 14 Pro Max, so I'd like to upgrade to a newer iPhone and then get the Galaxy in January, February, whenever, and then kind of make Google have to earn my trust back, because the last couple of generations they've been lagging the competition in the hardware department. Software is great, but if your hardware is problematic, it impacts the user experience.
Absolutely. And I will wrap it up by saying that I think 2023 has been a very easygoing year, with the very few exceptions of the iPhone, Google picking up more market share, and Samsung really doing their thing. I actually am very excited for next year. I want to see more improvement in the cellular aspects, because after watching your live show, Sneed, I could see there's soul divide. I don't think there ever is going to be peace and harmony amongst the cellular knights, no matter what hat you're wearing. It doesn't matter. But I'll tell you one thing, though. I really want to see some improvements on the tech side, especially with getting people to buy back products. I missed that innovation feel. It's been a while since we've had products that innovate. And I think this comment kind of suggests that, the biggest device to look forward to, at least for now, is the new iPad Pro with OLED. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, guys, it is really good to be back, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to be back on my live show. It is great to be back with all of you. I have missed doing this. I have so missed being with all of you. I want to thank these two gentlemen here, because, guys, I was only 18 years old when these two people found me, when these two people discovered who I was. And I am 23 now, and I have built a lot of my success thanks to these two gentlemen here. They have been by my side through the thick and thin. They were there through me all these last 6 months. They have seen the lowest of me. They've seen the highest of me. They've seen me get better. They've seen me get stronger. And I want to thank Carlos for everything that he's done. He's provided some of these equipment that you see. I want to thank Sneed Mobile Tech for being my brother in arms. These two gentlemen are my brothers. And if you want to know how close I am with these two, when I get married, whenever it is, these two are getting a seat at the table. I don't care where they at, they're getting a seat at the table. You're getting a seat at the table. So remember this, but...
As long as they got the champagne, bro, we there, bro.
That's it. Let's get it. Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Have a happy, safe New Year, everyone. Have a great night. I got to run to a memorial. Thank you all for tonight's show. Sneed, Los, I love you both. Thank you guys for joining on. And to everyone, again, thank you for watching on replay. Have a great night. Have a happy New Year. I'll see you in 2024 because guess what, guys? We got some stuff in the works. So
Yes, sir.
stay tuned. Have a good night and peace.